Have you ever seen a picture of a cartoon ape sell for millions and just thought, how? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the entire world of NFTs. We're going to go on a full journey, starting with the absolute basics and going all the way down to the actual code that makes a marketplace tick. We are going to demystify this whole thing. Let's get into it.
So, let's just start with this one big question. What if you could truly own a piece of the internet? I mean, not just borrow some space on a server farm somewhere, but have absolute, provable ownership over your digital stuff. That idea, that's the whole promise of what we call Web 3.0, and it's pretty much the entire reason NFTs even exist. All right, here's our roadmap for this journey. First up, we're going to nail down what an NFT actually is. Then, we'll get into the question everyone asks, why on earth do they have value? After that, we're going deep, looking at how the marketplaces are built, and to finish it off, we're going to peek inside the actual smart contract code that makes the whole thing work. Okay, let's kick things off with part one. What exactly is an NFT? We're going to build a really solid foundation right here so that everything else we talk about makes total sense. So NFT, it just stands for non-fungible token, and really all it is a one-of-a-kind digital asset. It's basically a receipt or a deed that proves you own a specific thing, whether that's digital art, a song, a video, whatever. And that proof of ownership is locked in forever on something called the blockchain.
Now, to really get this, you have to understand the difference between fungible and non-fungible. Think about it like this. A 1,000 Naira note is fungible. You can swap it for two 500 Naira notes and you have the exact same value. They're interchangeable. But the original Mona Lisa, that's non-fungible. There is only one. You can't just swap it out for a poster from the gift shop and say it's the same thing. It is totally unique.
And that's the big aha moment. An NFT is basically a digital certificate of authenticity. It's the proof, the deed that tells the entire world, verifiably, that you, and only you, own that specific digital item. So where does this magical certificate live? On the blockchain. And the easiest way to picture the blockchain is just as a giant public digital record book. But here's the key. It's not owned by a bank or a company. It's shared all over the world, and every single transaction is visible to everyone. This makes it incredibly transparent and almost impossible to fake.
All right, so that brings us to section 2. Now we get what they are, but that leads to the million-dollar question, right? Why do they have value? This one comes up all the time, so let's break it down.
You can really boil it down to three main things. First, there's utility. What can you actually do with the NFT? Does it get you into a special club? Is it a sword you can use in a video game? Second is scarcity and rarity. Simple supply and demand. Is it a one-of-one piece or one of 10,000? And third, you've got ownership history. Who's owned it before you? In the art world, they call this provenance, and a famous previous owner can make something way more valuable. An NFT tracks this perfectly.
And this takes us right back to our Mona Lisa example. In a digital world where you can copy and paste anything a million times, NFTs introduce something completely new, provable scarcity. That one-of-a-kind status, which we take for granted with physical objects, is what gives a digital thing real foundational value. It makes digital rarity possible.
Okay, let's shift gears. This is where it starts to get really interesting. For section 3, we're moving from the what and why to the how. We're going to pop the hood and look at how a big NFT marketplace, like an OpenSea, is actually built. When you look at a professional marketplace, it's really made of 3 layers. First, you've got the front end. That's just the website you see and click on. Next, and this is the important part, you have the smart contract. This is the brain of the whole operation. It's the code that lives on the blockchain and handles all the buying and selling. And third, you have decentralized storage. And that's where the actual JPEG or video file lives. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, why not just put the image itself on the blockchain? And that is a great question. The answer is pretty simple. It would be insanely slow and unbelievably expensive. Trying to store a single big picture on the blockchain could cost you a small fortune in fees. It's just not practical. So to get around that, developers use this really clever system called IPFS. That stands for Interplanetary File System. Just think of it like a decentralized Dropbox for the whole internet. The actual picture or video gets stored on IPFS, and the only thing that gets stored on the super secure blockchain is a simple link that points to that file. It's way, way more efficient. And that leads us perfectly into our final section, the expert deep dive. We're going right inside that smart contract. This is where the real magic happens. This is the logic that allows for a totally secure, automated marketplace where you don't have to trust anyone. Now, here's a key secret. Developers almost never write this stuff from scratch. That would be risky. Instead, most NFTs follow a specific standard, a blueprint called ERC 721. They use battle-tested, super secure code from libraries like OpenZeppelin. This is so important because it makes sure all the different NFTs and wallets can talk to each other. And, most importantly, it keeps everyone's assets safe.
Remember that link we said is stored on the blockchain? It has a name. It's called the token URI. But here's the cool part. It doesn't point right to the image. No, it points to another little file, also on IPFS. And that file contains all the info, or metadata, the NFT's name, its description, and then the link to the final image. It's like a pointer to a pointer, and it's how you connect the token to the art.
A big marketplace contract has a lot of code in it, but there is one single function that is the absolute heart of the entire thing. It's usually called something like execute sale. This one little piece of code handles the whole transaction when someone clicks Buy Now.
And this is where the genius of it all comes together. In one single, unstoppable transaction, this function does 4 things at the exact same time. 1. It checks that the buyer actually sent the right amount of money. 2. It automatically transfers ownership of the NFT to the buyer. 3. It instantly sends the money to the seller. And 4. It pays the marketplace its little commission. It all happens at once, no middleman, no delays, no trust required. And when you zoom out and look at the whole picture, from the unique digital deed to the automated contract that executes the sale, what you're seeing is the foundation of Web 3.0. It's a huge shift. It's a move toward an internet where we, the users, can actually own and control our digital assets instead of just renting them from giant companies.
So you see, NFTs are way more than just JPEGs. They're programmable, provable deeds to a brand new digital world. They represent true ownership in a space that's been dominated by renting for decades. So the real question isn't just what they are today, but what could we do with this technology tomorrow? What will you build?